Hi, my name is Teri Lee from Sweet Pea Papers, and it's September 2021, so that must mean we're doing our September daily. Yes. A note for today, this is page 10 that we're going to do. Page 9, I'm waiting on some stuff to come for me to work on this, and so I'm going to do page 9 out of order. Alright, so page 9 is floral, and there was no, actually the prompt or the kit was actually her eco dyed papers. Forgot to write that down. Okay, so what happens is every day Miss Paintalot, in January, we did a page a day in a book, an altered book, and the book was green and it was written by Mr. Green, so the book became called Mr. Green. This is Mr. Green, the sequel. Mine is black, so mine's called Mr. Black. So for number 10 was rolled either Tracy Fox or Artie Mays or a wild card. Miss P picked a wild card again, and the prompt was ink blending. Now she did something completely different than what I'm going to do. She did some ink blending, and she made a notebook and some pockets and some tags, and it was all blended, 3 colors blended ink. Now this is the ink we're going to use, so we're not going to use a liquid ink. Let me move this out of the way. And I'm really nervous about this because I've never really done it before. Let's go through real quick. And we've got 1, 2, which I don't know what I'm going to do about that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, this is 8. I don't know how I always end up counting it wrong. Okay, 9 we're going to skip for now, not forever. And then 10 we're going to do ink blending. Okay, now let's see, what do I want to tell you first? As you know, this whole series I haven't written any notes, and I'm just kind of winging it. So some of the things you're going to need are some ink blending brushes. These are makeup brushes. The bigger ones are not quite so bad for doing what we're going to do. The littler ones for like edging when you're doing normal junk journal things, I like better. So we'll just have to wait and see what we're going to do here. Now I've set out 2 alcohol markers. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. You'll see in a minute. One end is a wedge end. Forgot what this end is called. And then this end on this one is like a paintbrush. This brush is soft. It's not like a marker, like a Sharpie. This one, on the other hand, has that wedge end on one end, and on this end it does have a tip like a Sharpie. Okay, and I've chosen, these are both black, and we may use this and we may use a fussy cut, so it just depends on. I'd rather use a fussy cut and to give it a little more dimension. You'll see what we're going to do here. So some other things you're going to need is you're going to need a ink blending or an inking folder, right? So things that you can take and tap your brush on, so you don't end up with a big blob when you start doing your brushing. And this is the one that I've moved over to, and I've used this one. And anyway, these are just manila folders, so we're going to use these, so we're not going to put them too far away. All right, now you're going to need a palette, sort of. So you need to know what kind of colors you're working with. So I don't know if you can see on here, I put the different colors on, and I tried to do them lightest to darker. This wild honey I forgot about, so I stuck it in up here. And then you can see that some of the purples and pinks, I went from darker to lighter, and then I went from the blues darker to lighter. And technically you should blend your light into your dark, okay, just as a rule of thumb. Now with what we're going to do, it's a little difficult, so I'm not sure. Now I want you to realize that you are allowed to chuckle, because I'll tell you why. I've never done this before, ever in my life, ever. So what I want to do is like a simple landscape, just some browns to represent the land mass, let's call it, and then some simple colors like this to represent a sunset. That's all I want. Okay, so now that we're going to keep this. Now this is my first try and I didn't even finish it, because I'll tell you why. These are some of the things that happened. Okay, number one, there was contamination. As you can see, there's spots where somehow, oh, that's the number one, somehow I got ink, and these look like the edges of the ink pads, but they're not. So I believe it was the edge of my sleeve that did that. Okay, these and this here too. But if you don't wash your hands, I've got a baby wipe here, a damp baby wipe. If you don't keep your hands washed, your hands, I've discovered, the edges of your hands, the tips of your fingers, are going to cross-contaminate what you're doing. Also, as you can see here, I didn't tap the brush off well enough. In the very first swirl I made, you can see it. It looks like a Cupid curl. Please don't talk to me about Cupid dolls. They're very creepy. Anyway, so as you can see, I was doing this blue and I dragged my sleeve through here. Plus, this is on the cream paper because that's what we've been using in the journal so far. This was a mistake as well. Okay? So, off with you. Alright, now this is attempt number 2, which I think turned out a little better. The clouds are looking better. The farther away something is, the lighter it is. So the closer it is, it's going to have a shadow. I thought the sunset turned out pretty well for try number 2. Not try number 200, just try number 2. And then I did have some mistakes down here, but you know, ground isn't perfect either. You know, there's rocks and different things, and so I think that ended up being okay. The problem I ran into was you want to do your light into your dark. So what I should have done, what I did was I did my wild honey here, and then I did this. Now what I need to do is I need to work from the center and the bottom up. The problem is, once you put the center in, then you can't work your light into your, blah. Anyway, I ran into trouble. However, I do think this looks more like clouds. I left some little whiter areas, and I left some little swirls, and I tried to kind of swirl it down into here. These are farther away hills. I left some white to maybe look like some fog or something going on, and then I have 2 or 3 shades of the browns. Okay, so now this still looks like a 5-year-old did it. However, I have no choice. I've never done it before, so I'm going to have to go with what I'm going to have to go with. Now the idea is to have a large black tree silhouette in front of most of this. Okay, so what's going to happen is that I'm either going to try to draw one, which I really don't want to do, or I'm going to continue looking for a free to use, okay to reproduce and use image of a black tree, that I can print out and then have my scanning cut it out, or fussy cut it out, depending, and that I can just put right on the middle of the picture. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with a white. Oh yes, and this is white. Much better. If I had used mixed media paper, I probably would have had even a better result. However, since you guys may not have that, I'm just going to use 65-pound cardstock. And this is white. I've trimmed it down to fit in the book this time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. We're going to get out our piece of manila folder. Let's just go with this one and put this one out of the way. That we're going to tamp our brush on. This is going to be our guide. This is our palette, or our swatches. So let's take a look at this. So what I want to do is I want the wild honey to be at the top. I do like that. I like the brushed corduroy. Oh, these are Tim Holtz Distress inks. And these are the ones I ended up with, I believe. I still think there's another blue. It might have been this chipped sapphire. Yeah, I think it is. I think I used the chipped sapphire in with this. Let me take a look. Because it really does look like there's three. But it might be because I blended that second one into this one and then went straight to the pink. No, that's still three colors. All right, we're going to go for it. What's the worst that could happen? We'd have to start over. And we're going to be careful about contamination. I even contaminated my sample, or my swatches. So let's start with, we want to go light into dark. So let's start with our darkest at the bottom. And I decided that I really liked the walnut stain. Now I know when you use it to edge, to ink something you've cut out, it's really, really dark. But when you do this with it, it isn't as dark as you think it's going to be. So you're going to want to get some ink on here. Then you want to tap it. See how dark that is right there? And kind of tap the edge a little bit too. Okay? Then you just want to go in circles. And you can see there's still parts of this that are making these speckles, but that's all right. So if you hear tapping, and it's off screen, it's just me tapping the brush. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, and like I said, the ground isn't perfect. Don't do it straight across in a straight line. Okay. I may not talk a lot during this. Look, I've contaminated it already, and I have no idea how. I have no idea. I don't have any brown on my hand at all. We'll use it as an example then. An example of how not to do it. I really have no idea. No idea. We're gonna look at that. Now I know. I'm gonna ask Miss Paintalot. I'm gonna ask Fiona how to get around this, because it's really, really, really causing me some grief. Might be because I've tried several times. I don't know, but I keep and it isn't even just changing colors. Let's try again. I wonder if it's on the edge of this. Can't even tell anymore. So my hands are stained. This is ink. It says walnut stain. Sorry. Bad joke. So we're going to try it again. Look at that. 1 second in. Where was it? It had to have been on my fingers somewhere. All right, let's just focus on doing it. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Oh, see? And all right, I'm going to put you on hold. I knew this was going to happen. Okay, I've got another piece of paper. I've cut it down to size. And my happy personality has now gone out the window. I just don't know what I'm doing, that I'm getting it all over me always. The only thing I can think of is the side of my finger is touching this. And I don't know how I'm supposed to hold on to the paper. Dog here. Do you know what I mean? To keep it down. I wonder. What if I did this? That way my fingers don't touch the paper. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. You know, when you're doing something new, even though I'm kind of embarrassed, I'm doing it on film. You got to keep going. You're not going to learn how to do it unless you try. You're going to look silly. People are going to laugh at it. You're going to go, oh, it looks like a second grader did it, which is all fine and good. Maybe that's the look you were going for. Just tell them, I wanted it to look that way. I think it looks fantastic. Just the look I was going for. Okay, so let's get, you know, the ground is not even. So we've got our darker color put down. Okay. Now we can use the same brush for another color. All you have to do is make sure, see how there's still ink on there? Just make sure that there's no ink left on there, which apparently this does not want to run out of ink at all. Okay, so I guess we won't use this one. Walnut stain has to be walnut stain. Alright, so we've used walnut stain. Let's set that to the side. Now the next one I wanted to use, let me look on here. I believe is the frayed burlap. Now I bought, not for this project, but I just happened to have bought a whole bunch of these. So if you don't have these exact colors, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You can go ahead and use whatever you've got. It is all that you have, you know, pink and yellow? Okay, use pink and yellow. Who's to say that wouldn't turn out really groovy? Right? It could be groovy. Who's to say your picture can't be groovy? Just because I'm attempting something that I've never done before means that you can too. Let's get our paper towel so we're not touching the paper. And we're going to go this way because we're going to work from our light into our dark. So this is lighter. I'm going to work it into the dark. Into the dark. Luke, I am your father. Sorry. I got that baby Yoda thing on my brain too. Okay. So you don't have to do it all the way across. It doesn't have to be, like I said, the land does not go in a straight line across. Okay? So now I'm going to skip over my lightest color, okay, because of ground, because I won't be able to work my light into the dark on both sides. Does that make sense? This is what I just thought of. Not sure if it's true. Don't know if it's going to work. We're just going to try it. Okay? So, my darkest color of the blue and the purples. Where's my one? Okay. Is the Chip Sapphire. Pretty sure. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yeah. And it's pretty dark and it leaves a lot of ink on your brush. So let's see how we can do here. I'm going to do it very lightly. It's going to be the sky. Maybe you got some clouds. Who knows? Unicorns. There could be anything in your sky. Pegasus would be in the sky, I guess. Unicorns would be on the ground. Now, you can have swirls, which would normally be accidents, right? In your sky. This is a very juicy pad, too, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of ink on it, so I'm really having to tap it to get it down to... Okay. Now that we have this dark laid in, now we can go back and add our wild honey, because then we're working our light into our dark on both sides. This is my plan. Or as I keep saying, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so now we're going to work this in on both sides. So we're working into the darker on both sides. That works better than the way I did it the first time, which was not this way. I'm just saying. Just try not to touch any color anywhere. People that do this for a living must have the patience of a saint. That's all I've got to say. Okay. We've got our top color. It can go down. Things can be farther away in a valley or whatever. It doesn't have to be straight across. I keep saying that because I keep forgetting and almost doing that. Could be because it's 3:30 in the morning. But I wouldn't swear to it. Wow, I really got a lot on the brush that time. I didn't mean to. Okay, so once again, we're looking like a 2-year-old, but once we put our tree on, see, this would just be background, and it might be all right. Let's work this into the blue a little bit. See if we can blur our horizon. Miss P would definitely know how to do this. I know she would. She would be able to help me. So hopefully, maybe I can talk her into watching this video and she will help me and have pity on me. I used to do pastel chalks a long time ago, the soft ones. And I loved them, but I kind of did flowers, and You know, not this kind of thing. So I kind of wish I had done a little more down here. And I can always come back and do that. The only thing is, then I'm working my dark into my light. However, you know, that just might be the way it's going to happen. Okay, so we're going to turn this around. Let's wash our hands. My wet wipe is getting to be a dry wipe. I'm going to have to get another one. My dog hears me talking and he's laying over here going, I have no idea why. Coffee. I'm sure you guys can tell that I haven't had any coffee at all, and this is the first coffee I've had so far. Okay, now, seedless preserves, believe it or not, even though the cover's darker, is actually lighter than the milled lavender. Milled lavender is actually more of a blue. And I don't necessarily look at the top of the pad. I kind of look at the side. And you can see the color of the ink because this part was white. And then they put the ink on. This part, not so much maybe. I mean, it was. Never mind. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. I just know what I'm trying to say, but it's not coming out. Okay, this, oh, it's probably because he hears the tapping, now that I think about it. This, it's kind of hard to get a color down for some reason. Okay, so we're working our light into our dark and we're touching it with our hand, which is a big, big no-no, apparently. There could be clouds. I have to touch every single area. It's not necessarily going to be even. Remember, I've done a little bit of a stripe here to denote the horizon. And I'm not sure how wild I am about this or whatever. I'm just showing you what somebody that's only done it twice is trying to do. This is my plan. This is my attempt. And if you've never done it before, yours will probably look like this too. Well, maybe not. But I'm just saying, I don't think anybody, unless they're an artistic genius, which I am not, is going to get something on the very first try. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Right, and then we go into the seedless preserves, which once again, the lid looks really dark. You think it's going to be a berry color, but you will be surprised to find out what color this is. It's pink. All right, we got to stop for a second. Okay, now we've got this done as far as we're going to get it done. And my brother scan and cut for some reason, and it's more of a fussy cut than I would be able to do unless I was able to do something with an X-Acto knife that was magical, which I'm not. And in fact, as you all know, I'm not even allowed to be next to sharps. That's why we got the scan and cut. However, it does not want to detect the black against the white as the black needing to be cut out. So this is the problem I'm running into. This is obviously too small, but it's an example of what I'm talking about when I mean putting the black on and having your colors go through. And in fact, I would even probably skip most of this and go right up to here. Now, I could make this a smaller picture. Do you see what I'm saying? And it would probably work if I cut it off here and here and made this my picture. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, me showing you that part is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find it like a silhouette of one big tree that I can fussy cut out with my big arthritis people scissors and my poor little hands. So I'm going to put you on hold and I'm going to go look some more, but I just wanted you to see the general idea is to have the colors of the sunset show through between the trees. Now, I could try to draw a tree, but I have never used the brush end of my black alcohol markers before. I guess it wouldn't be that hard to reproduce this. This looks like something that a child did, so I'm a child at heart. So I'm sure that I could do it again. So, yeah. So I'm going to try to find what I'm looking for. I'm going to put you on hold, but I wanted to show you the general idea, and then I'll show you what I come back with. Okay? All right, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I've had a very small amount of sleep, so I've decided to try something silly. I'm going to try to dry brush some black trees on here. So these are super stiff, and if they were bigger, I don't know. I might try starting out with this, and if it isn't big enough, go to this. This one isn't that, well, it's a little big, isn't it? I'm not sure. The worst that can happen is I myrtleize it and I start over. Right? Right. So we've got our wet wipe, got our paper towel, we got some really bad stiff paint brushes, we got some black paint. Okay? This is just craft paint, apple barrel, a bazillion ounces for nothing. Okay, now I think I'm getting too much paint on my brush already. So let's dab a little bit of it off on there. And then let's just go here. See what we can do. My tree's crooked, but that's all right. Got some brush, some grass going here. I think my tree needs to be a little taller. Okay, let's go with that. All right, let me try it again. Pushing my luck, pushing my luck. Uh-oh, black paint on my hands. Do not want to cross-contaminate, right? Let's go for another one here. Okay. I'm actually not hating it. Okay, I need a little bit more. Not getting enough of a trunk on this one, or this one, I don't think. I may not have enough paint. Yeah, these are just not looking like pine trees at all. Would have to do them all the way across. I'm really not sure about this at all. Yeah, I think more paint was the way to go. I think what I need is to have more paint like I had earlier, and have my palette knife. Oops. Yes, too late. Maybe we'll do that in some brush, and we'll draw in the little not very good at this. This right here is a big mess. Maybe I should just fill it in to fix my big mess. Because I don't want to see my big mess. I want to see something going this way so that I can kind of cover my big mess. This let's see what we can do here. Maybe we can make it look like the trees. Supposed to be by themselves on a little island. Well, it does actually look like a little island. See what I can do here. All right. I think I'm going to call it a day on this. I think if I do any more to it, I'm going to end up with more tree trunks that look like that. So we're going to not put this into Mr. Black. I'm going to try it again off camera. I think. This isn't bad, actually, for just a second try. I think that might end up being what I put in there because it's what I did. If I practice 50 times and then put that in there, then that almost seems disingenuous to me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to let this dry. And it's going to be framed. Framed. It's going to be framed by this. Which I actually need to make this a little bit shorter. which I think you would have to do over here. Can't believe I left it a little long. Let me see how bad that's going to make it look. Okay, I just realized that when I stepped on my mic cord, when I went over to trim this down a little bit, that it had unplugged my mic from my laptop, and so there was no audio until I walked over next to my computer, and then my computer recorded it. So what I was saying is that it's I'm so sorry. Is that it seemed disingenuous to me to I have something really wrong with my throat. It seemed very disingenuous to me to keep practicing and then put it into Mr. Black. Mr. Black is us doing it and learning. And so I'm going to go ahead and mount this on here once it's completely dry. And then I'm going to put it in Mr. Black. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what it's like. And I'll try to figure out what the heck is in my throat and not choke to death on camera. Okay, I'm back. Everything's dry. And you know, when I walked away from this and came back, I actually liked it better than I thought I did the first try. I also would like to mention that I found all of my little stiff brushes as soon as I walked away and was done doing this. However, I'm not sure that I would have liked it as much as with my wider brush. So anyway, this is what the stiff bristled kind of dabby dry brushes look like. Okay, and then my palette knife. Remember, we used the black acrylic paint. We never did use the Sharpies. We used our Distress ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink. So now let's go ahead and I washed my hands, so hopefully they're okay. I moved everything with ink on it out of the way. Let's glue this on here. And I even signed it. I have a funny little way of initialing my work from when I did my Zentangles. You have to kind of have something unique so that other people don't claim your work. Look and see, there's a flaw on the back, which we don't care. And I think I kind of had enough fun that I'm going to go back to try number 2 and maybe try to do that one. If so, I'll post the picture on Sweet Pea Papers for you guys to see. And the good thing about acrylic too is it dries really fast. I just wanted to make sure it was super duper extra dry. Otherwise, we would have been back quicker. But you don't know how long it's been. And I'm not going to tell you. No, it's been about 10 minutes. Okay, so let's put this on here. I'm not going to edge it with any kind of color. You know, I'm not going to ink it. Let's see if we can make sure it's straight. Okay, there it is. I wonder if I should spray some sort of fixative on it. I'll have to ask Miss P. Sometimes hairspray will work. Sometimes you can just spray some hairspray. And that will work. What did I do? Miss this whole side? I at least missed this section, that's for sure. Okay, now let's put him into Mr. Black. I'm really good at painting black trees, huh? Definitely going to have to branch out to other colors. But since we had our sunset, and they're very close, then they would look black. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Plus, they're black because they're in Mr. Black. Okay, page 9 is floral. Page 10 is ink blending. Let's flip it around like this. Let's double check and make sure our surface has not got anything on it. It's getting harder and harder to glue on this. Let's see if laying them out. I'll lay you out. Okay, and then I'm just going to move over. I think the paper's a little warpy too because of painting it. Okay, let me see. How do I want to do this? The reason I framed it in the cream is I've been using the cream all the way through. Plus it'll help frame it against the white on the page of Mr. Black. He's black and white. Before the age of color TV, we have Mr. Black. And my throat feels much better. I don't know. I apologize for the mess up on the video. I apologize for choking to death. And I apologize for being a sarcastic butt when it was going on. So there. Now we should be all good. Okay, so there's my picture in Mr. Black. And I hope you like it. And if you don't, let me know. What would you have done different? If you do like it, let me know that too. I like to get your comments. And I will talk to you guys in the next video after Mr. Black attacks me. And that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Bye-bye.